Hello everyone, this is CA Yogesh Bhandari, and today we are going to discuss about Section 194R of the Income Tax Act. This particular provision will be applicable with effect from 1st July 2022. And here government has tried to tap on those expenditure which has been incurred as a benefit or perquisite given by one person to another arising out of a business or profession. One important point for you to note here is benefit or perquisite, which is covered under Section 17(2), in which case the transactions happens from employer to employee, is not covered here. So any benefit or perquisite which arises out of business will only be covered under Section 194R. So without taking much of your time, let us directly jump into understanding what does Section 194R say. Section 194R is applicable with effect from 1st July 2022, and it will be applicable when any person responsible for providing to a resident any benefit or perquisite. So I'll hold here for your understanding that the person receiving the benefit or perquisite has to be resident. So any person responsible for providing to a resident any benefit or perquisite, whether convertible into money or not, arising from business or exercise of profession by such resident. So here you need to understand that the relationship that need to be established is of either business or profession, and no other relationship other than business or profession will be covered under Section 194R. In such case, the person providing such benefit has to ensure that the taxes has been deducted on such benefit or perquisite at the rate of 10%. Moving on, such benefit or perquisite can be given wholly in kind or partly in cash or partly in kind. But in case where the cash is not sufficient for meeting the liability of tax, then the person providing the benefit to this resident person has to ensure that the taxes required to be deducted has been paid in respect of such benefit or perquisite. Moreover, this particular provision will not be applicable if it does not exceed the value of benefit of perquisite does not exceed 20,000 rupees in a financial year. And this particular provision will not be applicable in case of an individual or HUF whose turnover does not exceed 1 crore in case of business or 50 lakhs in case of profession during the immediately preceding financial year. Now that we have read about Section 194R, let us understand with the help of an example. So an individual doing a business of manufacturing automobile, he has earned 25 crores out of his business, is currently looking out for distributors, and for the purpose of attracting these distributors, he has introduced the scheme for distributors. So any distributor who distributes goods worth rupees more than 1 crore will be eligible for a couple trip to Thailand, and more than 5 crore family trip to Europe. Similarly, more than 10 crore family trip to US with accommodation, and similarly for 20 crores. So such kind of benefit or perquisite given to the distributor will be covered under Section 194R provided these distributors are resident. So becoming happy for your distributors or agent has become little costlier. So such benefit will be subject to TDS under Section 194R at the rate of 10%. Now that we have understood Section 194R, let us quickly summarize this section. It is applicable with effect from 1st of July 2022. This section is applicable when the benefit or perquisite is received by someone who is a resident. This section will be applicable when any benefit or perquisite arises out of business or profession by such resident. TDS will be at the rate of 10%. Such benefit or perquisite is normally covered under Section 28(4) of the Income Tax Act. TDS has to be paid for all the benefit or perquisite either received in cash or kind. The value of benefit or perquisite should exceed 20,000 in a financial year, and this particular provision will not be applicable in case of individual or HUF whose turnover does not exceed 1 crore in case of business and 50 lakhs in case of profession. The government has issued circular to remove difficulties under Section 194R as the same is applicable from 1st of July 2022. The circular contains 10 questions which have been answered by the government. Number 1. Is it necessary that the person providing benefit or perquisite needs to check if the amount is taxable under Clause 4 of Section 28 of the Act before deducting tax under Section 194R of the Act? Here the government states no. The obligation is on the person providing benefit or perquisite to deduct tax at the rate of 10%. He need not check whether this particular benefit or perquisite is going to be taxable in the hands of the person who is receiving this benefit or perquisite under Section 28(4). It can be taxable under any other section. He need not check this particular thing. His only obligation is to deduct tax at the rate of 10% whenever he provides any such benefit or perquisite to any resident individual or resident person. Question number 2. Is it necessary that the benefit or perquisite must be in kind for Section 194R of the Act to operate? Here government states that tax under Section 194R is required to be deducted in case of benefit or perquisite which is given either in cash or in kind. In fact, government also want to draw your attention to the point where they have tried to cover the cases or situations where benefit or perquisite is either given wholly in kind or partly in cash or partly in kind. And in such case, where the cash component is not sufficient to discharge the TDS liability, in such case, person providing such benefit or perquisite has to ensure that the taxes has been deposited accordingly with the government. Question number 3. Is there any requirement to deduct tax under Section 194R of the Act when the benefit or perquisite is in the form of capital asset? Here the government states that, like in question number 1, where the person providing benefit or perquisite is not required to check whether any type of income is taxable in the hand of recipient of benefit or perquisite or not. Similarly, in this case also, the government states that any kind of benefit or perquisite provided, whether of revenue nature or capital nature, will be chargeable in the hands of recipient. And accordingly, the person providing such benefit or perquisite has to ensure that the TDS has been deposited with the government. So even if benefit or perquisite provided in the nature of car, land, building, computers, or any kind of capital asset, such asset will also be covered under Section 194R and TDS has to be deducted accordingly. Question number 4. Whether sales discount, cash discount and rebate are benefit or perquisite. The government here has stated that sales discount, cash discount and rebate which are given by seller to their customers are also in the nature of benefit or perquisite given under Section 194R. But the government has also understood that if such sales discount, cash discount or rebate are covered under Section 194R, it will lead to increasing difficulties for sellers. Therefore, to reduce the difficulties for sellers, the government has decided that such sales discount, cash discount and rebate which is given to their customers by the sellers will not be covered under Section 194R, and accordingly there won't be any TDS under Section 194R. However, these relaxations should not be extended to other transactions given by the seller in connection to its sales. Certain illustrations given by government are when a person gives incentives in the form of cash or kind, such as car, TV, computer, gold coin, mobile phone, etc. When a person sponsors a trip for the recipient and his relative upon achieving certain targets. When a person provides free ticket for an event. When a person gives medical samples free to medical practitioners. So such kind of transactions are covered under Section 194R and accordingly TDS has to be deducted. But normal sales discount or cash discount rebate to customers given out of sales are not covered under Section 194R for the sake of simplicity among the sellers. Question number 5. How is the valuation of benefit or perquisite required to be carried out? The government here states that there are two responses. Number 1, where the benefit or perquisite provider has purchased this benefit or perquisite, then purchase price will be the value of this benefit or perquisite. or where the benefit of perquisite provider has manufactured such benefit of perquisite, then the price they charge to their customers will be the value of benefit of perquisite. Question number 6. Many a times a social media influencer is given a product of a manufacturing company so that he can use that product and make audio or video to speak about the product in social media. Is this product given to such influencer a benefit or perquisite? A very relevant question during this hour when the social media is at boom, like Facebook or Instagram. So here government states that whenever the social media influencer keeps the product after making the audio or video about the product, then such kind of benefit or perquisite will be covered under section 194R and TDS at the rate of 10% will be applicable. However, if the social media influencer gives back the product to the manufacturing company, then such benefit or perquisite will not be treated as benefit or perquisite covered under section 194R and no TDS will be applicable in such case. Question number 7. Whether reimbursement of out-of-pocket expense incurred by service provider in the course of rendering service is benefit or perquisite. Here government states that any expenditure which is liability in case of a particular person doing business, if made by some other person, will be considered as benefit or perquisite provided by second person to the first person. To give you an example, if say for example I as a consultant provide my services to a company called X, and for the purpose of providing this services I have to travel to different places. So accordingly I pay hotel expenses, food expenses. If the company later on reimburses my bill, which is not in their name, it is in my name and it has been reimbursed to me, such kind of reimbursement will be considered as benefit or perquisite and accordingly TDS at the rate 10% under section 194R will be applicable. However, if in the same example, if bill is given in the name of company and I am being reimbursed accordingly, then such kind of benefit or perquisite or reimbursement will not be chargeable to TDS under section 194R. Question number 8. If there is a dealer conference to educate the dealer about the product of the company, is it benefit or perquisite? The government here states that if such dealer conference meeting is happening with a prime objective to educate dealers or customers about any of the following or similar aspects: new product being launched, discussion as to how the product is better than others, obtaining orders from dealers or customers, teaching sales technique to dealers or customers, addressing queries of the dealers or customers, reconciliation of accounts with the dealers or customers. They have also mentioned that such conference should not be in the nature of incentive or benefit to such dealers or customers. However, they have also noted certain cases where section 194R will be triggered. Those are expenditure attributable to leisure trip or leisure component, even if it is incidental to the dealer or business conference. Expenditure incurred for family members accompanying the person attending dealer or business conference. Expenditure on participant of dealer or business conference for days which are not account of prior stay or overstay beyond the date of such conference. So such kind of expenditure will not be exempt under section 194R and subject to TDS under section 194R. Question number 9. Section 194R provides that if the benefit of perquisite is in kind or partly in kind and cash is not sufficient to meet TDS, then the person responsible for providing such benefit of perquisite is required to ensure that the tax required to be deducted has been paid in respect of the benefit of perquisite before releasing the benefit of perquisite. How can such person be satisfied that the tax has been deposited? Here the government states that the person providing benefit of perquisite has to ensure that the tax has been paid, and for this purpose he will have to rely on the person receiving the benefit of perquisite. So to ensure that the taxes has been paid by the person in receipt of benefit of perquisite, he can obtain a declaration stating that they have made payment of taxes and accordingly ask for advance tax challan copy. At a later date, he himself will have to report about this advance tax copy challan in his TDS statement. Alternatively, to avoid difficulties, the person providing benefit of perquisite may he himself deduct the TDS and pay balance amount to the recipient. Question number 10. Section 194R would come into effect from 1st July 2022. Second proviso to subsection 1 of section 194R of the Act provides that the provision of this section do not apply where the value or aggregate value of the benefit of perquisite provided or likely to be provided to a resident during the financial year does not exceed 20,000 rupees. It is not clear how this limit of 20,000 is to be computed for the financial year 22-23. The government here states that the provision of section 194R will be applicable only when the aggregate value of benefit of perquisite will exceed 20,000 rupees in a financial year. However, for financial year 22-23, this provision is applicable from 1st July 22. Therefore, for the purpose of calculation, government states that any benefit of perquisite given from 1st April 22 to 31st March 23 will be considered for the purpose of calculating the limit of 20,000 rupees. However, benefit of perquisite given during the period 1st April 22 to 31st June 22 will not be subject to TDS under section 194R.